Hey guys, this is Jeremy with 78 Productions. This week we've been talking about a lot of different kind of games that you guys can play. If you haven't ever gotten these books, there's Best Games Ever by Les Christie, and then Wayne Rice and Mike Yaconelli have the Play It. Those are some really great resources. There's a lot of great websites out there. I kind of want to plug our website that's going to be coming out within 6 months. It's something that's going to be a lot different than what's out there right now. It's going to be a search engine for youth ministry games. It's going to have a gamer feel to it, so the more that you participate in adding games and rating games and commenting on games and suggesting games to other people, you'll win badges, stuff like that. So it's a game within a search engine, game engine. And we're going to be looking for some beta testers at the end of the month. So we'll have a couple of different logos come out. We're only going to ask those that comment on the different parts of the actual aspects of the website, the search engine, the logo, the feel of the website. Those people that comment on our stuff, we will then ask if they want to be a part of the beta testing. So we're not actually going to say, hey, if you want to beta test with us, email us, but we want to hear your insight, and so those that have really good comments for us, we're actually going to ask to help us out with this website. So you'll get an inside look on the website. You'll even get a review if you're a blogger. Hopefully this will be one great resource for you guys. And the idea behind this all came from the fact that I don't do games very well. So we listed 20 games, inside, outside, everyone plays, the back pocket games. That's really it for me. There's a lot of youth pastors out there, a lot of youth workers that they do games really well, and I'm not one of them. I am really good at discussion, the theological, the theoretical, the working with teenagers that are hurting kind of youth ministry. So when we come down to the games, I'm not really good at that sort of thing. I actually have to go online, I have to use those resources. So this will be something that I even use, and I wouldn't be investing my time in it if there wasn't any kind of effort. So we'd love to hear what you guys have to think about that. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk to you guys about real quick is, how do you guys do games with volunteers, with students? There's a lot of different things we can discuss, but for me, one of the big things I always make sure I invest in with games to be as successful as they can be is that whoever is running the game, whether it's me or a volunteer, that they know what the game is about. They understand how the game is played. So whenever they go up to introduce the game to students, they're not sitting there at their sheet trying to figure out how to play the game while they're actually teaching the game to the students. So they know how to play the game. They've even gone through it with me if it's a volunteer that's leading it. Whenever I teach it to students, if it's a more complicated game, there's one that we introduced called the the simple form of it's digit count, where you stick your arms behind your back and then you stick them out, and however many fingers you have up and how many the other person has up, you count it up, and you can try and describe it, but if you just do it, it's so much simpler. So the preparation for this is very key, and a lot of people have come to the conclusion that you just need to have a volunteer meeting or a staff meeting right before youth group happens, club happens, whatever you call it, just so that everybody's on the same page. And I love that idea. If that's not something you do, we don't necessarily do that, but I meet with my volunteers one-on-one and talk with them. Okay, do you want to do this game? And if you're good with it, great. If you're not, would you be willing to be a participant in this other game? So one of the games that we introduced to you guys was the banana split, where volunteers are laying on the ground, and then we have the students putting syrup and ice cream on the volunteer. I always try to make sure the volunteers know what they're getting into, but I'm less hesitant to use a volunteer than I am a student. I was one of those students that in youth group, I went up for a game, and it was one of these where you try to stick as many clothespins on your face, and I hated it. And I just remember how much pain I was in. I was crying because it hurt so much, and I was up front and people were sticking clothespins on me. So I'm one of those guys that I will never force a student to be a part of a game. Now, volunteer, that's a different situation. And if the volunteer doesn't want to do a game, then it has to be something that I am willing to do myself. So if it means getting up high in the face, I'm your guy. And we actually have volunteer run clubs here. and I try to be the best volunteer for my volunteers. So if it ever requires something messy, I am the first person to jump in if nobody wants to do it. So I'd love to hear what you guys have to think as far as preparing for games. Love to hear what you guys think about this new system coming out for the search engine for games. Is it something that you'd like to use? Is it something that you'd like to beta test with? Any ideas that you'd like to throw out there, because we're just in the initial stages of developing this thing. So leave some comments below, and we'll talk to you guys next week.